Hi, my name's Lucy Paget, and I want to talk to you about the body's response to stress and how we can heal ourselves using movement medicine. And here in my diagram, I've got Maud, and she is feeling really stressed. You can see, first of all, by her somewhat bleak expression that she's put on the mask that she wears when she just has to get through life and just has to get beyond things. And perhaps you know that in yourself. Perhaps sometimes you feel as though you set your face kind of rigidly just in order to take that deep breath that you need to and move through, push through things. So Maud is definitely feeling like that. In addition to that, and let's do red. In addition to that, internally, Maud is feeling a little bit anxious. And let's make the anxiousness look something like that. And let's give it some dots that go off around her. And then that's one of the ways that she's responding to stress, is this horrible feeling of anxiousness in her body. And she's doing a very good job hiding it by holding her expression as strong as possible. In addition to that, Maud has some issues in her gut. Let's just draw it like that. So she's feeling kind of cramped in the belly area. And she has something she doesn't even know she has, which is we're going to do in grey, which is like an absence, a numbness. And we're going to put it in her hip areas. It could be anywhere in her body, but for now, for Maud, we're going to give her hip areas that are kind of numb. And we're going to let's give her a bit of a headache as well, because there's just too much going on as she tries to hold it all together, holding her face kind of rigid, feeling the anxiety in her body, gripping through the diaphragm, which is the muscle that we use to breathe with, which is causing her stomach to be unhappy and causing her problems where she's not digesting her food very well, because if your digestive system isn't working so well, and if your diaphragm, which massages the organs, isn't working so well, then you don't assimilate your nutrients from food particularly well either. There's a couple of things I want to focus on here. And let's start with these areas that I've put in grey, the numbness. We often don't realize we have an absence of sensation, or an absence of feeling good, or an absence of wholeness, or an absence of goodness of life, until we come back to ourselves. And it's one of the sneakiest and cleverest parts of the body's stress response system, because numbness is an absence, and we don't notice the absence until we're returned to wholeness. And in the work that I do with gentle movements, we find ways to regulate our body through movement, because through movement we bring circulation, we bring sensation. And if we do it in an environment that feels safe, if we do movements that are not too complicated, because we don't want to work our nervous systems, our brains too much, if we do movements that help us breathe better, movements that are soothing and have some rhythm to them, then we can actually bring ourselves home. And we start to notice places in our body that we've been holding tension, or places where we just haven't had a great sense of sensation. They come home to us and feel so good. And then one of the beautiful things that happens when we start to feel more at home in our bodies, we start to breathe better, and our diaphragm moves up, and then it moves down, it moves up, and it moves down in a more balanced, holistic way. And when our ribs, our lower ribs, are moving well, that takes some of the stress out of the shoulder area. Because when our ribs and diaphragm aren't moving well, our upper ribs are lifting up and down, and causing a lot of neck tension and a lot of tension in this part of the body, in the shoulder girdle. In addition, when we start to breathe well, we get this beautiful massaging effect. And the organs here in the abdominal cavity start to be moved and massaged and able to work better. Not only the abdominal organs, but we also have in this area, we've got our abdominal muscles, and we've got, I'll put them in blue, our psoas muscles that start quite high up and connect to the front of the spine and have little connections to the diaphragm, go all the way down to our hip flexors and then connect with our quadriceps. And when these muscles are working well, then that takes stress off of the low back, it takes stress off of the spine, and there's our kidneys, which actually sit on the front of the psoas muscles, and they start to be able to ride up and down with better movement of the diaphragm, better functioning of the psoas muscle. Plus, when the psoas muscle is not pulling so hard, it gives a bit more flexibility to the pelvic girdle and the legs. So there's a lot of biomechanics and physical strain patterns that get enmeshed with stress and trauma. And that's, in the work that I do, what I seek to help people with, is to uncouple stress and trauma from the physical strain patterns in the body so that we can get things working better. We can get circulation working better. We can get our lung capacity working better. We can get our abdominal organs working better. And we can teach ourselves how to come back to balance. And one quick exercise that I'm going to show you right now on Maud is just the simple awareness of midline. Let me find orange. Midline, we can think of as the line of our spine, or we can also think, more energetically or visually, just like a laser beam line running through the center of the body. Think of like the crown of the head, and feel that or imagine that in yourself now as I'm talking. This line of balance that connects the right half of the body to the left half of the body. And as I say the right half, feel the right half of your body. Feel the left half of your body and feel the center place where they connect. And now feel the front of the body and feel the back of the body. And feel the way, by feeling from the outside into your center, you can find your center. And just try and stay with that awareness of center that runs from the top to the bottom of you, from the bottom to the top. And feeling into our midline connects us to balance. It also connects us to a kind of blueprint in our body, because our body knows midline right from an embryological level. The very first structure to happen in the body when we were just a clump of cells is actually the midline, this little structure called the primitive streak or the notochord. Anyhow, so we connect into midline, and there are some beautiful exercises that I teach really with a midline awareness and some movement of the hands to tune in. So there's movement right and the left side of the body, and then also movement where we can hold the hands and really get a sense of the top and the bottom of the midline. Anyhow, going back to Maud, let's not forget her bleak expression. And what we want for ourselves, and I certainly know this for myself as well, is to change this rigid mask that we sometimes wear when we feel as though we have to just push through, to a pleasant, comfortable expression where you aren't wearing rigid facial muscles that are causing you stress and tension, but just a simple facial expression that is truly yours. And not only is that good for you, but it's extraordinary how your own facial expression affects other people. There are studies that show that one of our most basic ways of understanding safety in others is by their facial expression. Before even our cognitive brain starts to analyze and understand people, we judge tone of voice and we judge facial expression before we've even thought about it. So your facial expression affects other people, theirs affects yours, just as your tone of voice does. And it's my sense that it is, in a sense, our duty in life to be working on ourselves to help as we gather the stress of life. We have life experiences and we need a practice. We need usually more than one practice, but we need a regular practice that we can do that brings us home to ourselves so that we are healthy and so that we're well connected both to ourselves and also to our friends and family around us. So please join me for some work, movement medicine, learning how you can give yourself tools to feel better in yourself and to resolve and to relieve stress and trauma. Thanks.